September 3rd, 2025 meeting to order and welcome everyone who is with us today. As you can see, Mr. Manus is under the weather this morning, so I will be filling in for him. If you please will stand with me, I'll give the invocation and the pledge. Dear Lord, thank you so much for allowing us to be here today. We ask you to be with us as we do our county business, and please give us clear minds and clear hearts as we listen to everyone who comes before us to talk to us about things that they need and things that they want for the county. Lord, I ask you to be with all of our kids who are sick and who are in a fight for their lives right now. And Lord, please be with our first responders, our sheriff's department, our EMS, and our fire department, please. Please be with them, Lord. And Lord, have a special request. Please calm my nerves for this meeting. I would really appreciate that, Lord. Thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Wilson, will you do a roll call of the members, please?
District 1, Daryl Jeter.
Here.
District 2, Michelle Glover.
Here.
District 3, Eddie Skeen.
Here.
District 4, Michael Bricky.
Here.
District 5, Danny Castile.
Here.
District 6, Chris Manus. And at large, Stephanie Addington.
Here.
Madam Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Next, we will have the approval of the agenda. Are there any changes, Mr. Wilson?
I do not have any. If anybody else has any, Mr. Skeen.
Madam Chairman, I do have one to add. It's
Okay.
the Sheriff's Department Comp Board additional officer request.
Okay. Where are we
Put
going?
that
Put that.
new business, probably.
New business?
Where are you going to put that?
We'll do it new business, I guess.
Okay.
If that's okay with everybody.
You want to put that as
We'll do it E.
E? Yeah. Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda with the change, adding the new business item in E?
So moved.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Okay. Okay, motion carries. All right. Do we have approval of August 6, 2025 minutes? Can I have a motion to approve those minutes as written?
So moved.
Okay, Stephanie moved that. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Okay, item 6 on the agenda is citizen expression, and I'm going to read something to you all. Rules for citizen expression period. Citizen expression period is a point in the meeting when anyone who wishes to address the board may do so. If you wish to speak, please come to the podium and state your name, where you are from in the county, and or what organization you represent. The board may or may not respond to anything you say, but we will take everything you say in account when making future decisions. Please keep your comments concise and businesslike. If no one has signed up to speak, we have no particular order. We ask that you take turns and speak your business. Any action will be considered after we close citizen expression. And I do believe we do have one person person who has signed up for citizen expression, and that would be Claudia Jesse. Will you please come up to the podium? Like that.
Hi, you have to forgive me, I'm a little nervous as well. So.
Hi,
My name is
join me.
Claudette Jesse. I actually live in Russell County, but the organization that I'm here to represent is Meals of Love, and it is in Nicholsville. Meals of Love was started 18 years ago in Nicholsville. It is a community volunteer group that cooks meals and takes to people in the community that are in need. In 2019, Meals of Love was shut down because of COVID, and the place that we were working in Nicholsville no longer wanted us to come back there. So in 2020, Freedom Baptist Church, which is on Little Duck, decided to restart Meals of Love there. And that is where I go to church, and I had already been working with Meals of Love for a couple of years before it shut down. We work out of our church, but it is not necessarily church sponsored. The church just allows us to work there. We serve anyone in the community, mostly older people. I read something one time that said the biggest problem with growing older is being overlooked and forgotten. What we do with Meals of Love, first of all, we take a meal every week. But the main thing that we do is we show people that they've not been forgotten. They're not being overlooked. We take meals to anyone who asks us, or if a family member asks us or a community member asks. They don't have to have any affiliation with the church. It has nothing to do with that. It is a totally volunteer organization. And it relies totally on donations for the food and the things that we do. Many times we have gone to visit someone and they were having a medical problem or they were having some other problem, and we were able to meet that need. We have one couple who were not able to go to the grocery store. Their vehicle was down, and one of our members from Meals of Love take them to the grocery store once a month now. There are a lot of things that we do other than just taking a meal. Although the meal is the main thing, but it has been a great blessing to me to be a part of this, and I think it has been a great blessing to our community as well. We had one lady who told us, she said, I look so forward to these meals because it's the only time through the week that I get a complete meal. She said, I cook, vegetables for myself or whatever. She said, but this is the only time I get meat, vegetables, bread, and a dessert. And we try to send generous meals. A lot of our people make 2 meals out of them. That's what I have. Do you all have any questions about Meals of Love?
I'm familiar with your operation, and we'll be discussing, I guess, at the end of the session.
Okay.
The number of people that you serve.
Our base number right now is 28. We have served up to 60. It fluctuated according to the need. Sometimes we will take meals to people on a temporary basis if they're going through an illness or an injury, or we serve a lot of people who are going through cancer treatments. So the number fluctuates, but right now we're serving about 28 or 29 people every week.
Are you asking for a donation?
Yes. Like I said, we rely totally on donations, and with food costs going up, it's getting harder. And so yes, we are asking for a donation.
Do you serve 28 people to 26 people every day, or?
No, it's once a week.
Once a week?
Yes, once a week.
That's a lot of food.
I'm sorry?
That's a lot of food.
It is a lot of food. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
For what you do.
Peggy Tyson, I'm from Snowflake Road, and I'm here on behalf of all dirt roads in Scott County. They're hard on buses and vehicles, and I want to thank VDOT for all the maintenance that they do on Snowflake Road, and they don't have we realize that it's not just Snowflake Road, it's the 252 or 253 miles of dirt road in Scott County, and the maintenance that they do is temporary. And that is why I'm going to ask, and really I'm probably begging Mr. Kilgore and Mr. Pillion to fund more money for dirt roads, because you can't do anything without funding. And then I want to ask the question about the Riverside property. Is that a benefit to the Scott County taxpayers? And Snowflake Road is on the 6-year plan, and I hope they will be funding when it comes up for paving. I've jotted down, I'm getting off on my notes, and I want to thank my sister, and the bus driver is here also from Snowflake Road. And again, I want to thank VDOT for all that they do try to maintain all the dirt roads in Scott County. Thank you all for y'all's help. And y'all have a blessed rest of the day.
Thank you.
Morning, Supervisors. I'm Carl Darty. I live on the other end of Snowflake, 671, and it's 3 miles of dirt road. It was pretty bad. The rock slid out, and they got it took care of, and maintained it. After every rain, it seemed like it washed out, but we need help on that road. And I really thank you, Eddie, and your supervisors, and VDOT, for clearing the right of way. Awesome. It's good. It's fantastic. I was surprised. You've done a great job on that. And also, I asked y'all for a bus trip last time I was here to go on a detour, of the roads. Go through Snowflake, up Kilgore Holler, and Nixfield, Hope Cross, Dean Holler, to show you some of the roads that we travel on. I'm not the only one who's got a bad road. There's a lot of people got bad roads. Scott County is bad roads. And I believe if we fix our roads, kids will be able to live here better. Instead, come in more population. Because you buy a $50,000 car, you're not going over the dirt road. And I just want to really thank you for cleaning up the right of way. And maybe Mr. Ferguson will borrow a bus to take you off for a ride. Your kids drive that bus, and I carry the cargo for kids is, and your precious cargo there is in the world is your kids.
Yes.
There's no other cargo that's valuable than your kids, your loved ones, grandkids. But I just wanted to give my expression about it, and I thank you, and I appreciate it so much.
Thank you. Anyone else for citizen expression?
Gary Baker from Boozy Creek. Michelle, you're gonna do a good job. Don't worry about it. Just pour on the coal. But I just wanted to thank Peggy. She brings it up every time about all these dirt roads, and I want to thank Eddie for getting Buller's Chapel Road graded for us, because we've got a big decoration coming up next Sunday, and if it don't rain, we'll be okay. But I called Mr. Wright that lives on that road, and we were hoping we get the tiles cleaned out and the ditch lines straightened out. And he said they didn't clean them out. I didn't have time to go up there and look at it, but I want to thank VDOT for doing the job they're doing. And also I'd like to ask a question here. Can the people that lives on them roads, can they take their tractor and grader blade and dip them side ditches out and clean out the culverts themselves, being that, it's on their property without any liability? And anyway, just to circle back there, we really appreciate you all, and Michelle and all of you, and y'all do a good job. Want to thank each and every one of you. And I think I forgot some, but I can't think of it. So Michelle, you're doing a good job.
Mr. Brickman,
Thank you.
I just a couple of questions. I see that we got Mr. Sumter here from RADOT. You asked us our question. We all kind of looked at each other. We didn't have the answer. So I asked the man in charge, Mr. Sumter, about cleaning.
Well, I'm sure I'm hoping he'll answer that when he gets up here.
Okay.
And I won't take up no more of your time, and thank you for the question there, Dan. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Oh, I know what it was.
I knew you'd think.
Everybody call the people running for governor and see if we can get this reversed back to what it was before 2009 to help VDOT get the money, the equipment, and everything to do where they'll have the stuff to keep our roads in good shape. Anyway, all you have to do is, if enough people jumped on them two running for governor, they do something. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Morning, Board.
Morning.
Just want to take a moment and remind everyone that September the 13th, Saturday, is our Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day. We hold that annually to try to get people an opportunity to get rid of stuff that they may not feel safe about or we don't want in our trash stream. So that will be Saturday the 13th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. A change this year, we usually do it down at the Gate City Municipal Parking Lot, but due to their park construction and going on, we're moving it to the parking lot outside of the community service building here. So it will be in the parking lot out here. People will be able to come in. We just want to people to take advantage of that. You know, the old container that might be in Granny's basement that you don't know what's in it. You know, if in doubt, bring it out, and we'll take care of it and try to keep it out of our water and streams in the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. We're going to close the citizen expression, and now we can take any action that we need to take. I think the first one was from Miss Claudia Jesse from the Mills of Love in Nicholasville. She was asking for a donation.
I'm very familiar with their operation, and as I think last time we made a similar type contribution to the organization, I'd like to make a motion that we $1,000 to the Mills of Love in Nicholasville.
Contingency.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, say nay.
Do you need any information from her?
Yeah, who to make the check out to and address.
Ms. Jessie?
Yes.
Do you have the contact information for
Yes, I
our
do.
account? Madam Chairman, out there have a couple other things, or did you have something that you wanted?
The road trip. Okay, we have Mr. Doherty's suggestion for us to go on a road trip. I'm down for this. If it's okay with Mr. Ferguson.
We'll take care of it, yeah.
If we could do it on my off day, that would be great. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd like to.
Okay. What about you, Darryl?
I do not. I do not. I don't
Okay.
even mind. I don't know.
It's on when.
When and what, okay, what about you?
Don't make no difference to me.
D-I-Z.
It's a field trip.
Field trip.
Okay.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, I'm good. Okay. Just in case we need to.
Okay, yeah, you can just-
All right. We'll get you a date and a time. Where did Mr. Doherty go?
Excuse me.
Oh, bless him. Okay. Well, we'll get back with him. So, all righty. Anything else?
I'll speak to Ms. Ty's comments. I think, Mr. Wilson, you did invite, or have you got any update on that?
No update.
I'd like to remind the public that Mr. Wilson has requested that Delegate Kilgore and Senator Pillion have been asked to attend this meeting to discuss about a very important topic we hear at every meeting, and that is our roads in Scott County. Thus far, I don't think he's gotten a response yet. Is that correct? And 2 years ago, I actually tried to make appointments with both of them and was unable to do so. So I'm not surprised by this. But these are our representatives. So hopefully they will come forward and do something for us. Riverside property, I did attend the EDA meeting. Those projects, construction have been delayed until at least 26. They requested funding from the Virginia Department of Housing. And first round was rejected, and they're reapplying for round 2 for funding. I think, do you have anything else to add?
No.
Okay. Mr. Doherty mentioned VDOT clearing the tunneling effect. I had one other bus driver that called me from the Nicholsville area, had a similar situation on Bunker Road. VDOT right away got on it and cleared it out. I would like to see any bus driver that feels like they have an unsafe situation to contact me, and I'll work with them in contacting VDOT. They've been very helpful in getting on these safety issues. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd like to say something to Mr. Sumter. I mentioned that place down there on the Clemson River, Highway 65, around the bluff there. They got on that, done a very, very fine job. And I thank you for getting them on it, getting it cleared of what you got for us. Thank you.
All right, item 7A is a public hearing. This public hearing is concerning the intention of the Board of Supervisors of Scott County, Virginia, to propose for passage a resolution authorizing the insurance of an estimated maximum amount of $6 million principal amount of general obligation school bonds of the county. The proposed use for which more than 10% of the bond proceeds are expected to be used are the financing of the construction and renovation of one or more schools located within the county, including Weber City Elementary and Yuma Elementary School, all of which constitute capital projects for public school purposes. The bonds will be sold to the Virginia Public School Authority. Before we open this public hearing, we have with us today Mr. Austin Sachs from Davenport and Company with a presentation.
All right, so good morning. Appreciate the introduction. My name is Austin Sachs. I'm with Davenport and Company. We serve as the county's financial advisor. We have been fortunate enough to do so for about the last 2 decades. And in that role, just for some perspective for the public, we're not a bank, we're not making any loans to the county, we're not selling you any products. We don't have any interest in any capital projects. We're truly here in a fiduciary role to give you all recommendations as to financial topics, and especially when it comes to undertaking of financing, giving you our recommendations. So if you remember about a month ago, my colleague David Rose was here. He sends his best. He gave y'all a presentation on a plan of finance for a series of school capital projects. That plan of finance contemplated a dual track approach. The first track being via the VPSA, Virginia Public School Authority's pooled financing program. The second track of that approach being a competitively solicited direct bank loan process. And so that process has been completed. So I'm here today to discuss the results of that process, our recommendation, as well as next steps. And so that's what's in the presentation here in front of you. So I'll begin here on page 1 and just go over some background. And feel free to jump in with any questions, but I think I covered a series of the background, cover 2 points on this page. The second bullet, just a series of capital projects related to Weber City and Yuma Elementary, totaling about $5.3 million, like I said. We don't have any interest in the capital projects undertaken. That really is the will of the board. It's your decision. We're just here to give you recommendations on the most cost-effective way to finance those capital projects. And then the last bullet point here on this page, we did get 2 proposals in here. We'll go through those. I think we have some very good results to share with you this morning. On page 2 here, just to give a sense on, call it overall interest rates. So this is a chart dating back to 1980 at the top of the page. It's called the 20 bond index. It's really a bellwether for long-term fixed tax-exempt interest rates. And so why that's important, as a local government, we have the ability to borrow on a tax-exempt basis. And so that allows us to achieve the most cost-effective financing. If you go back to 1980, you're borrowing in the double digits, 10, 12%. If you follow that graph all the way to present day, 2025, you can see the declining trend. And outside the all-time lows during the pandemic, we're really in a historically favorable long-term tax-exempt borrowing environment. On page 3 here is the alternative. These are reinvestment rates. So a personal finance corollary, fortunate enough to have a savings account, you've probably seen the interest rate on those to increase substantially in the short term. So these fluctuate daily, they're variable, largely driven by monetary policy. But what you see on the left-hand side there is during the pandemic, you were earning about 0%, maybe a couple basis points on dollars saved. Alternatively now, in and around the 4% range. And so it really gives you the opportunity, which is a benefit. When you borrow dollars, you have the opportunity to generate real interest earnings during the life of the project as those dollars are spent down. So a bit more of a positive relationship there where, you know, during COVID, you could borrow money at 3%, but you're reinvesting it at 0. So on page 4 here, so going into the 2 bank proposals that we received, I'll go through the table kind of in detail, but high level, we received the first proposal from Capital One, a large national institution headquartered in Virginia, technically in Richmond. And then the second proposal we got was from Huntington Bank. They're out of the Midwest in Ohio. And for what it's worth, we've seen both of these banks being very active in our marketplace, so we're very familiar with them. They're good to work with on their end, they're good for it. So 2 very, very familiar banks to us. Starting with Capital One, the first thing that we'll look at is the interest rate. That's in that, call it second column there. For Capital One, you will see 2 options. You see a 4.60% interest rate and a 4.72. On the front end here, I'll say we are recommending the 4.6% option. It is the lowest rate of the bank proposals we received. And I'll go into a little bit of detail on the difference between those 2 rates. The 4.60 assumes that the proceeds are held at Capital One throughout the life of the project. You know, we requisition dollars from Capital One. It does generate interest earnings at Capital One, but we just work with them throughout the life of the project. The 4.72 462 interest rate says that we can invest the dollars elsewhere. Presumably in that scenario, it would be Virginia SNAP, a state-run program, but you see the cost of that being 12 basis points over the life of the loan. The second important piece that we'll keep an eye on and really take note of is what we call the prepayment provisions. And so you see there the date October 1, 2032. And so we'll call that a 7-year call date, 7-year call feature. So for the first 7 years, we don't have the ability to prepay the loan. But following that 7th year, and this is important, we have the ability in whole or in part to prepay the loan. And so thinking about an in whole prepayment, that would typically be a refinancing. We've had the opportunity with the mortgage, going from a higher interest rate to a lower interest rate for savings. The second part there, the benefit, is this in part concept. And so say you have some extra dollars within a budget during a year, you could make an extra debt service payment. That'll be applied to the final maturity and lower your payments throughout the term of the loan. So it gives you that flexibility throughout the loan to make incremental payments. And then the last column here is collateral. These types of financings, the ultimate backstop, the deep pocket, if you will be the Board of Supervisors. But these types of financings, no different than a mortgage, require some sort of collateral. Banks will typically look for essential purpose, essential use buildings. Both Capital One and Huntington have asked for just Weber City, so not both elementary schools, but just the one. The second proposal, I'll go a bit quicker. Huntington Bank at 479, a decent bit higher than that 460 from Capital One. They have a 3-year call feature there, but only in whole, so you lose that incremental repayment flexibility. And they've also asked for Weber City as collateral in that proposal. On page 5 here, there's a lot of numbers in the table, but I'll try to explain it rather simply. So what you're looking at is that 460 and 472 from Capital One. Those are the interest rates that are known today. They can be fixed and locked in for the 20-year term of the loan. And this shows us what those payments would look like under either of those interest rates. So on the left-hand side of the 460, there would be an interest payment due during the fiscal year that we're in, FY26, and starting FY27, the next 20 years at $420,000 plus or minus, just some rounding there, given these loans are issued in $1,000 increments. On the right-hand side of the 472, you can see the higher interest rate translates into a bit higher of a payment. If we were 420 in the first scenario, we're at about 425 under the 472. So over the life of the loan translates to about $90,000 more in payments. And so part of that is our rationale for recommending the 460 interest rate, just lower payments over the life of that loan. And then on page 6 here, just kind of covering the topics that I've hit on previously, but giving some comparison to that second option, VPSA, that I talked about on the front end. Our recommendation is still the Capital One proposal. The real rationale there is we know that interest rate today. VPSA is issued in the public markets, and so that's not scheduled to occur until the middle part of October, and so we won't know the interest rate for 40 days, and interest rates can fluctuate. There's no way to know if they'll go up, if they'll go down, but we like the idea of having something known today that we know those fixed payments for the life of the loan. The second option, or the second point on this page in the rationale, is Capital One is more flexible than VPSA. Bonds issued in the public credit markets typically include a 10-year call feature to protect bond investors for the first 10 years. And so that 7-year call feature from Capital One offering us a bit more flexibility than the VPSA option. And then the last point on this page, just making note, similar than if you were to go for a personal loan, both have to go through final credit approval processes. Capital One has given us positive feedback to date, but they have to go through their final credit approvals, but we do not foresee any issues with that going forward. And so on the last page here, just giving you next steps. And so we will hold a public hearing, or saying we, meaning the county. That's for the BPSA option. We'd still encourage going forward with that, just so, you know, that second track is taken care of, or gives us that contingency that procedurally is taking place. But for the Capital One proposal, we do not need a public hearing. What we would ask, and we've talked to your bond counsel, is if we could get a simple motion to move forward with Capital One. And that motion can be as simple as we make a motion to move forward with Capital One's 4.6% proposal. That just gives us the opportunity to express to the bank the board's intent to move forward, let us move forward with some of the transaction logistics, that final credit approval on their end. And then what you'll really see, the balance of this schedule, is the formal approvals from various boards. And so if we've got our dates right, October 1st, coming back in front of y'all for the passage of what would be a resolution, financing agreement, things of that nature prepared by bond counsel. We'd also talk to the school board and get their approval, given the collateral is a school building. And then on the 15th, this type of transaction, given Virginia law, requires a conduit issuer, and that would be the Economic Development Authority. They would have no financial liability. The board would still be the deep pocket, but Virginia law requires the EDA to be the conduit issuer on paper only for this financing. The county's done that previously in the past, and so very familiar and widely used across the state. And so following those approvals, we look to close about 2 weeks later, call it the end of October, and that's when funds would be accessible to commence on the projects. And so that's what we have for presentation today. Thank you for the opportunity. Happy to answer any questions, but otherwise, thank you.
Does anyone have any questions?
We're talking about the interest rate going down.
I wish I could say there's just no way to know. I think the one point that I will make, that this year has been a volatile year in terms of interest rates, so there's no way to know whether they'll go up and down. If you remember back in April, quote unquote Liberation Day, with the tariffs that actually closed the bond markets, there were no bond sales able to take place. People wanted to see what was going to happen. There was so much uncertainty, so we just like the idea of having an interest rate known today that we can lock in.
There was an application for grants for this project. Do you know the status on that?
I do not know the status, but maybe
No word on that yet, Mr. Skinny.
If that comes through, how will that affect what you're doing?
Well, I'm sorry. If we were able to receive the funding, remember we made application to potential receive a third or 33% of the total project that we designated. We would apply that money toward this particular loan itself. Is how that would work. But we have yet to receive any official word whether or not we were recipients of that grant award or not. I still don't know what to tell you, but we did make application.
Is there a deadline for that?
I'm guessing that the announcement will come sometime this month, probably middle, late this month. I just don't know. They have not given a specific timeline when the announcements will even be made. I'm just guessing it'll be middle or late this month.
Mr. First, did you get a 5-something million grant here a while back for something? It seemed like I seen something in the paper that y'all got.
No, sir, what they were making reference to were lottery monies. We did not receive an individual grant in that regard. That money's included into the basic aid monies as well as all the state monies that we receive through the Virginia lottery system. we did not get an individual amount. That was, in my opinion, very misleading because that money is intertwined with the monies that we received from the state.
Okay, I didn't know, I seen that in the paper and I thought you got a grant.
I wish we did, sir. I wouldn't have representatives here speaking before you today.
Well, I couldn't figure why you didn't use that money to build if you got it.
No,
You didn't
no,
get
sir.
it.
It's intertwined with the monies that we received from the state.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have any major capital projects that are in development now for school projects?
We presently have, I'm going to stand up here next to you. That's all right. We presently are finishing up or still working on some of our roofing projects at the Career and Technical Center, as well as Twin Springs High School. We just finished some of the heating and cooling upgrades at Rye Cove High School as well. It's near completion. I'm not sure what the percentage, but it's close.
About 70%.
And we're still continuing to work toward that. One of the biggest things when I became superintendent was the age of our roofs. And over the course of time, we have been able to knock out a lot of these in terms of replacement roofs. We've done window upgrades, we've done heating and cooling upgrades. The only coal-fired boiler we have left now in the county is here at the complex. Everything has been converted over to gas or electric heat. And Mr. Sally, would you like to speak on some of the costs associated with some of these projects? He's here with me now. He keeps me in the loop of everything and what needs to be done. We do have a kind of like a 5-year timeline wish list of items that we want to accomplish during that time, but I will say over since my tenure as superintendent, we have done a lot, and I'm bragging on myself, but I'm bragging on Mr. Sally and what he has done over this amount of time. And I'm very proud of that fact, and we will continue to do so. And I ask your all's blessing with this. This is a need for our school system. With the number of services that we provide for our students, we just don't have the space. As I've shared with you too in previous meetings, one of my biggest concerns is the electricity, the amount of electricity being used on a daily basis. We will have to do some major upgrades in terms of electrical service within our buildings, simply because of that. So I'm going to turn the floor over to Mr. Sally, and he can share with you some of the updates that we've done here just recently. And I would invite you to go visit our schools to see what all takes place. You are going to notice it walking into the building. You actually have to, whether climbing on top of the roof or seeing some of the behind the wall updates that have taken place. Mr. Sally.
Yes, I'd be glad to answer any questions for any of the board members, specifically to speak about some of the projects that we are currently in right now. The HVAC upgrade that we're doing for Rye Cove High School is probably the largest project that we have going at this time. We've abandoned the use of the coal-fired boilers. We've actually, as far as the maintenance department personnel themselves, we've worked with the installation of new cooling units that is in each and every individual room, and in association with Comfort Systems USA, which is our mechanical heating and cooling contractor that we've worked with since 2014. Don't remember if Mr. Jeter was here at that time or not when we done the performance contracting project, but we've had that long-standing relationship with Comfort Systems USA, and they're providing new LP gas boilers that will be replacing, of course, the coal-fired boilers, and we're in progress of actually installation of the piping and stuff for that system now. There's a lot of things that's kind of changing in the industry of HVAC, from the refrigerants being used to also We've got new indoor air quality testing procedures that was actually just instituted this July. And so there's a lot of things that's changing in that. A lot of people want to talk about whenever you change out an air conditioner, well, all you gotta do is just change one out, put another one in, but there's a lot of indoor air regulations that's kind of going with that now, so it's not quite that simple. So with that, between the fresh air, the new heating systems, the new cooling systems, and ductwork and stuff like that, that was a project that, we'll say in the range of probably $2.75 to $3 million. So it was a large project, and then that whole school will be, basically the HVAC will be replacing every bit of that school. We have continued on as we had funds from, and I don't remember the exact names of them, but the funding that we received during COVID and stuff like that, we got into a lot of window replacement projects. We've continued on with some of those and paying those out of the school budget. Mr. Ferguson and budget committee members are approving those projects, so we're continuing on with that to continue to upgrade the schools where we can. The roofing projects is items that we have been doing on a large scale, we'll say since 2014, and we still have a few of those left, but we've probably replaced the roofs on our buildings on about probably 80 to 85% of our school buildings. So we're really getting near the replacement of the roofs that was in the 30-year-old range. So we have buildings that's got roofs on them now that's 20 years old, but that'll be rolling back around for us here in a few years. But so that's some of the large scale projects that we've been working on. And we have more of those just like on our capital improvement project list, as far as we have heating and cooling equipment that's been in schools like Twin Springs and Gate City and Shoemaker that is hitting the 30-year mark, and it gets tough keeping that equipment running. We put new controls on it in 2014, but we put it on equipment that was 20 years old. So we have, Mr. Ferguson has maintained a staff in maintenance in the budget for 11 to 12 personnel that work down there, and then also an administrative assistant also that's been in the budget, and we've maintained that, with the exception, of course, of some leaving, some coming, retirement and stuff. But through the department, those guys that work in that department bring a good skill to the Scott County schools that allows us, if any of you have priced any labor, actual labor on anything, it's very high. So we answer the everyday calls to doing large projects such as we done on this summer over at Rock Cove High School and other schools. I mean, we do electrical work, we do the HVAC work, we do major plumbing jobs, we do major carpentry jobs, we do renovations. So the guys in the shop are to be well commended for the work that they do also in all the schools. So I can talk for a long time about it, and I apologize for it, but with that, I'll be glad to answer any other questions.
Vocational roof, I know it's bad. Is it on the?
We are replacing an area that a lot of people are familiar with as far as the auditorium, where we had a large event this past weekend that we're dealing with removing the old, putting the new back on. Some of the things that people don't realize that goes along with that is there's asbestos in a lot of the curbing of units and things like that. So there's multiple contractors that's working on that, because we have to have abatement contractors plus the roofing contractors. We have to coordinate that stuff together. And then obviously, as everyone knows, dealing with the rain this year has been a major challenge. So as that work goes on around the drain lines to old units that have been removed and installed and stuff, that's a challenge. And we've had probably a little bit higher problem than what we normally have, but also the rain's been a little abnormal this past summer too. So, but they are nearing the completion of the installation of that. We have a construction update meeting on that Friday that will have more updates available. And I'm sorry I don't have a better update, but we're near completion of that.
Whole new roof.
It's a whole new roof, yes sir. It's and that's one of the things that people don't realize too, is the cost that the school system has absorbed with that, is that every building that we've got, it's got two roofs on it. And then also you throw in the asbestos sometimes that, I mean, we've was paying in the range of $11, $12 a square foot whenever we started this work back in 2014, and we paid as much as $28 to $29 a square foot. And you start thinking about that, I mean, the buildings we got is, 25 and 40,000 square feet. They ain't 3,000 square feet like our own, or 1,500 square feet like our own. So it's a large number whenever we deal with that replacement. But so we do remove. There's always, every roof that we do is really, there's 2 roofs on that building. So we remove it back down to the original decking, and we install 1 new roof on that. And once again, just like a lot of other things, there's a lot of codes to follow, insulation values that have to be met to be able to get that roof back up to code. So that's something that helps us with our energy efficiency, and then not only that, but our integrity as far as the building and keeping moisture out. And as everyone knows too, moisture will absolutely ruin a building. So
To answer your question, Mr. Jeter, in regards to that section, that is the auditorium, the upper level, as we make reference to that, the main building. That is the last section to be completed. The entire second buildings, as well as from the steps down, going toward the second building, all that has been replaced. It's just that upper level. And it'll be finished, yes.
Yeah, and that's the career tech will be completely done at that time. So we have Twin Springs High School is another school that will be completely done and probably any day now. It's another one. We got a construction update meeting on Friday, but when I was there on this past Friday, they just had maybe about 4,000 square feet left of that. And so once again, that's one where they're removing it down to the existing decking. And then like the Career and Tech Center also, I mean, they have some areas that has metal decking, and where moisture had got down into that metal decking, it rusted out. And so we have to actually get down and even replace some of the metal decking before we go back with the roof. So that's other items that, I know it's maintenance stuff, like I said, I can talk about it a long time, but that's cost that we incur and time that adds to the finished part of the project.
I didn't have any maintenance questions, but I did have population, student count. Mr. Ferguson, I talked to you last year about your forecast for the next 10 years with student population, and you thought it would remain steady. No big changes either way. There was a study done by the University of Virginia Weldon Cooper Center.
Yes.
And it's in the Cardinal News recently, August 12th. Southwest Virginia and Southside Virginia are projected to have major population decreases in the next 25 years. Some examples, Buchanan County, they expect 50% reduction in population. Lee, Wise, and Russell, 30. Scott is better at 18. So they're projecting Scott County to have 18% population decline in the next 25 years. But you said that you felt like in the next 10, that student count would be steady. You still feel that way?
In fact, to answer your question, we've actually seen an increase in the student population this year. And it's not due to the fact we have had increases. Children residing have a Tennessee address, but the majority are coming from within the county. We have a large population of homeschool students, which push about 280, which is up about 40 from last year. But we've seen an increase of families moving into the area, as well as some who I guess maybe have been on the homeschool track to come back to our schools. So we have seen an increase. Unfortunately, the projection that the state had provided back in the spring is wrong. It's off. So we have seen an increase in that regard. Some schools fluctuate a little bit up to maybe 50 additional students, and others actually lost some. But we have seen an increase in the student population. Now, whether or not they stay with us for the entire year, that's a different story, but physical bodies in the building, we have seen an increase.
Could you give us a head count? How many kids is in Scott County schools at this time?
Yes, sir, I've got that number. It's right at, in person, 3,200 over.
That's about what we had last year, wasn't it?
Thereabouts, yes, sir. But we have seen the increase. And where they come from, how they found Scott County, is beyond me. But I'm glad they're here.
What does it usually cost to educate each kid in the county, would you say?
Well, if you looked at the numbers that Mr. Skeen had shared earlier this year, it's going to be anywhere from the $15,000 to $20,000 range, and that's with state funding. The county's portion is a little over $3,000 per child, and the federal will be included in that 20 thereabouts. We receive quite a bit of, I won't say quite a bit, but we receive several million from the federal end of it.
Do you remember the PowerPoint we went through that I shared that with?
Right.
And I know Mr. Skeen made a comparison of Scott County and Wise County. Mr. Skeen, Wise County's budget was $90 million, not $70 million, as you alluded to when you spoke to me earlier in regards to that, in terms of the population. It's over $90 million, Wise County. So I shared with you then, I could care less what Wise County does, even though I have good friends there. I'm more worried about Scott County.
You also made a statement a few months ago that you didn't hear about it after 2 years because you was going to be out of here.
I never said that.
You never said that.
I never said after 2 years.
Did you say you were going to retire after?
I didn't say anything about retirement. I said, Mr. Skeen wanted to know what the 10-year plan was. I said, well, Mr. Skeen, I'm not going to be here in 10 years.
Okay, so I take it the wrong way.
I don't know where he got the 2 years from.
Did you hear that, Mr. Skeen?
I was thinking 2 years.
Did you hear it, Chief?
That's been too long for me.
You did.
I don't know why that.
Did-
Well, it would be,
I guess
it would be in the
nobody heard
minutes.
it but me and Eddie Skeen, so I guess.
I could be wrong, but it would be in the minutes if it's an issue.
But either way, it's no big deal. I plan on staying here more than 2 years, and I'm sure you do too. But maybe I take it wrong, okay?
I don't know what the relevance is in regards to how long I'm here or not, Mr.
No,
President.
nobody does. But I mean, that's the way I take it. After 2 years, you really didn't care.
I never used the word 2 years at any point in time. He asked me what the 10-year plan is. I said, in 10 years, it won't make a difference to me because I won't be here in this position.
Yes, exactly the way you did for after 2 years.
10. I didn't say 2, I said 10.
We'll be in the minutes, I will recheck it, but you did word it that way, I will say that, okay?
I never used the word 2.
Okay.
After 10
Maybe I didn't hear
years.
it, of course, I've been told by before I need to hear it, so maybe I do.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Ferguson, Mr. Sally, and Mr. Sykes. Appreciate you guys talking with us. We are going to open the public hearing now. If anyone, if anyone would like to come up and speak on this topic, please come forward. State your name, please.
David Carter, Sally's Monument Lane. Been coming over here for approximately the last 8 or 9 years to most of the meetings. Some of them here, not, I watch them on YouTube. The last year or so, some of the actions, innuendos, and so forth, to me, as a citizen, a lifetime citizen of Scott County, has been embarrassing. For instance, just a second ago, My wife and I, we don't have any kids. But I've been working in the school system as a volunteer coach for probably 15 years. I've coached travel ball. I've coached kids from Wright Cove. I've coached kids from Twin Springs. I've coached kids from Gate City, from Lee County, Wise County. And people say, why do you do it? Because hopefully I'll make a little bit of difference in helping these kids. And as the gentleman bus driver said, those kids are the most important thing. And support of those kids in the school system is the most important thing. And what I thought was pretty embarrassing last month was a 5-2 vote. I thought that was pretty embarrassing for the county. What kind of message does that bring to the students? What kind of message does that bring to the teachers that are working out here every day trying to help these kids? You know, Mr. Ferguson came up and said, you know, all he was asking for was your blessings to improve Weber City, to improve the unit. Well, and we know why the 2 votes were. And I want to commend Ms. Agnew for her proposal, not a proposal, for her projection, her PowerPoint presentation that she did 2 months ago. She did her research. She didn't throw out any numbers, or they said, she said, he said. You know, she had it all down. She had the formula down of how it all works, how the funding works. So, yeah, there's probably some kids that came over here from Tennessee. But you know, as I said, I've coached softball for a number of years. There's kids in Russell County that go to Wise County. There's kids in Wise County that go to Lee County. There's kids at Lee County that goes to Wise County. I even know some kids that came from Kentucky into Wise County. So, you know, a few from over here, from Tennessee, for whatever reason, do we penalize everybody else by not voting to fund at nothing costing the taxpayer, right?
Right.
Not costing the taxpayer any more money to help these kids. So I would just say in closing that today's vote should be 6-0 because Mr. Manus is not here versus 2 no votes. Thank you.
So, hang on one second. In other words, you oppose bringing more Tennessee kids to the Scott County school system?
I don't.
Huh?
No, I don't.
You don't oppose that?
I'm sorry?
I said, do you want more kids from Tennessee coming to our schools to get a better education or whatever there?
If they can get a better education here, I'm all for it.
You're all for it?
I'm all for it.
If tax people, the citizens of Scott County, if their taxes goes up, are you for that too?
If the taxes go up, you're saying the taxes are going to go up specifically for?
I don't know what it's specifically for, it's everybody votes.
Okay, well, see, you're throwing out those innuendos right there. You know, what ifs and ifs, you know.
Well, I'm gonna make a statement, put this camera right here. I'm gonna take and try to get all the Tennessee kids and the surrounding counties to come to Scott County schools. Because, I mean, it seems like that we want to educate them all. So I welcome them all to come here because it seems like that's what we want. That's what they want. I'm all for it. As long as it don't raise the taxes on the citizens of Scott County. I've said enough.
Does anyone else want to speak on this topic? Can I close this public hearing? Is there any discussion between the board members?
Madam Chair, if I may, I just want to reiterate what Mr. Ferguson had said in the past about this particular project, as far as being able to make the payments, that's not any additional ask of the taxpayers or of the board. This is more of a formality to move forward with this project, and that way Mr. Ferguson can move, go ahead and get what he needs with Weber City and Yuma. So I guess what the ask of the board would be just a motion or board action to approve going with that Capital One 4.6% proposal.
I'll remind you that the gentleman from Davenport did say that the county's, I think he said deep pockets, and using the Weber City School as collateral. So I think it's more than, of course, they have a real good record, I think, of making payments. That's probably not going to happen, default, but that's why we're here today.
Right.
We have to cover any defaults through our deep pockets.
The school is the collateral.
School property is, which is owned by Scott County. Yeah. I'm just saying is the reason he's here is there are some risks. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not risk-free, but they have a good record of making payments. Yeah.
Well, I'll make the motion that we approve or move forward with the Capital One. I want to make sure I get this right. 4.6% rate proposal. Is that all? 4.6 rate proposal with Capital One, as reviewed by Sachs from Davenport. My goodness, are you having the day or am I?
Well, I'm going to second that motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed
No,
say
no.
nay.
No.
Did you say yes? All right. Got a 4-2 vote.
Motion passes.
Motion passes. Okay. All right, moving along. Item 7B is a public hearing also on the possible adoption of an ordinance authorizing bonuses for county employees. I open this public hearing. Is there anyone here that would like to speak on this topic? Please come forward. Okay, there's no one. I close this public hearing. Any discussion with board members?
Authorizing the bonus. What, did this happen last year? Of course, I'm asking you, but I know you weren't here, but do you have any knowledge of it?
Miss Sally can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we ever had anything on the books for bonuses. That's kind of why we're bringing this ordinance up. Just so it will have something actually, policy about bonuses.
And this also came from the Department of Social Services, because they get bonuses from the state, and then it comes into our payroll.
Right.
And then, we've got to pay that out. Whether we don't have any ordinance saying that, we can do that. So we need to have an ordinance so that we can give these folks their bonuses from the state when they do get those.
Oh, just a pass-through, basically.
It's a pass-through.
Yeah.
Would this, would also involve all employees in the county?
So it would give that ability, you know, if the board would so choose.
There would be a review process once that happens.
Correct.
Okay.
So today, if you choose, you'd need to adopt the ordinance, and also approve the bonus for the ones that are getting it this year. You can do that in one motion.
Social services.
Yeah, and
Excellent.
others from the state.
I'll make that motion,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
And I'll second that motion.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. All righty. New business. We have Alan Sumter with VDOT here this morning for an update. Welcome, Mr. Sumter. You're a very popular man.
Good morning. That's good or bad.
Good morning.
Okay, so I tried to jump right into it. Just some general comments to start off with. You have the report that we passed out to you. I'll cover some items that on it in more detail. You see the list of the things that we have received that have come in through different members of you all that have come. Maybe inadvertently left something off, I'm not sure. But we have been working on several items. Getting into one of the things, I know that one of our greatest work order call in that we have had lately has been on mowing, and that's understandable. As a gentleman pointed out from the school board, it's been so wet this year, and it's been hard to stay ahead of the mowing, growing faster about it than we mow, particularly the Johnson grass is just unreal. To compound that, we've had breakdowns in tractors that have taken a while to get repaired. As an example, Fort Blackmore was down like to one tractor instead of the three that they usually use for a few weeks. That put them behind, but we have all the tractors up and going now in both Fort Blackmore and Pattonsville, and we seem to, I talked with both superintendents yesterday, and we seem to be making a lot of progress moving forward. So they are currently mowing, Pattsville mowing in the Manville area, and they'll be moving to Nate Stanleytown area next, and then we'll move into Rye Cove. Fort Blackmore is mowing in the Nicholsville area, and they'll be mowing in the Fort Blackmore and Dungannon area next. They're also maxing on 72 and 65. All areas have been mowing for sight distance and spot mowing locations. On 23, we've begun our primary mowing again, and they are about down to Bray Road right now at this time. That usually goes pretty quickly, and I was told that they had been mowing also on 58 toward the Washington County line as well. So I'm sorry that we have had these difficulties. It's caused problems. It's been frustrating to us too, but we're trying to work as diligently as we can to try to catch up. Also, as far as mowing, I also was told that they were finishing up the Twin Springs area. They've mowed in Big Moccasin, and that they have on the Pattonsville side of the Rye Cove, they've been mowing in Alley Valley, Rye Cove area, and we also took care of the sight distance problem up Danny Yawk Circle. That was another thing that came up. So we're trying to get there, and we will soon see some slowdown in the growth with colder weather moving in, and we will keep working even after it frosts to try to make sure everything's mowed and take care of as quickly as we possibly can on mowing. The next item I'll just touch on is the Route 72 sinkhole. That was the area where that we had water going under the ditches and down into like a cave-like area and across the road. we've been working on that. We've got the excavation and backfill completed. We were working also now into the ditches. Our plan is that we're going to fill material down in the ditches and then put riprap over the top of it and then grout it over the top of it to try to keep the water from going and seeping down into underneath the roadway and hopefully eliminate that problem from happening in the future. So we're looking at about another 2 weeks of work left for the completion of that. I'm going to skip down just a second to the rural rustic portion of it. As I've talked before, in our 4 counties, residency-wide, we have experienced quite a bit of both the Hurricane Helene work that we now have completed, and also February flooding event that turned out to be a declared event that we get federal reimbursement from as well. So we've been trying to use our resources residency-wide through our 4 counties to meet our deadlines that they've given us, like by the 1st of December, to make sure that we have all of our work done and paving, patching, and everything completed. That's a requirement that we have to abide by. So we've had to shift some resources around, and some of that has been with paving work with our patching contractors. So we anticipated that we thought that we would get started on Anby Cooper and Eaton Hill on the paving this month, but I'm starting to believe that it will probably be October or so before we get paving. Still have plenty of paving weather unless it just turns unusually cold, but that's just unavoidable because of our obligation with the federal funds for everywhere. The department, as you know, we're trying to maximize all our funds as we can and get every dollar we can too. So we're trying to get this work done so we can get a maximum reimbursement as much as possible on all the roads that were damaged throughout our residency, and the same applies for the entire Bristol district that we have. So that's just something that we've had to juggle our resources with. We are going to start Horton Summit here in October, and we will begin doing work on it that will not make it a muddy mess through the winter, but we will do things probably like trimming trees and pop installations and things like that. We won't disturb things too much, and then that one will be completed next year. And we also are working on Obie's Creek as well, Route 660. So we have 4 projects that are currently underway on our rural rustics, which we're very pleased about with that, especially given all the other demands that we've had with trying to do all these flood repairs and so forth. Tell Tony I said hello. Okay. So on another item that I wanted to go over was on project updates for you. There's some important things that I wanted to make sure that we got information out. Our construction folks will be doing as well, but I kind of want to go over with you here. So I asked Bill to put up for you the Google Maps for there at Duffield, and I guess, Bill, you can get the yellow lines off of it, can you?
Sure, I should be able to do that.
Okay. Okay, so this is a pointer, isn't it? This is a pointer?
That won't point on the,
What point on those?
here, you can use the mouse.
Okay.
Take your arrow where you want to go.
Okay. Okay, so I don't know if Mr. Manus is well enough to be listening today or not, but he's the one we've been talking to the most about, but it does concern everybody. So as you know, if you travel through, we are doing intersection improvement here in Duffield at the intersection of 23 and Route 58. This goes toward Tempur-Pedic and toward Lee County, and this goes toward Wise County, and this back toward Gate City. So the project that we have in place now that we're doing is that we are putting a dual left turn lane to come this direction here. Okay, so that's the project that's underway at this time. There is a signal pole located in the median on both sides of the intersection. The signal poles will be relocated, and the signal, one of them pole will be put over here, and the other one will be put, I think it's right on this side is where they would be, but the signal poles will be relocated as part of that project. So one of the things that's come up now, and again, we talked with Mr. Manus, had a meeting several months ago with him. Some of the concerns he was getting is we have oftentimes requests to put a traffic signal here at Tempur-Pedic going into the business there, and then also here. So we have done a warrant analysis for signal, and it does not meet the traffic warrants for a signal. Some of that is that what you have is when we put a signal in, the signal is there and operational all the time. We do not put a signal in and then like put it on flash and, during off hours. And most of the peak traffic is whenever Tempur-Pedic is like making its shift change, which that comes into the counts that's there, that it doesn't warrant a traffic signal. So one of the things, and Bill, I guess I could zoom in, can't I, since I've got the, okay. So we've spent time watching traffic cameras. We now have a traffic camera back here at the intersection that we can turn and watch movements. And I'm sure most people that have been there on location and have kind of seen this too, is that you have lots of different entrances here on all sides, and people just make crisscross movements back and forth, in and out, and so forth here at the all up and down this corridor. So really, we believe that the true cure for this area through here would be a project that would come up and do what we call access management. Some of the old timers like me call it channelization. So we would do things like come in, and where this is like the open fifth lane, so to speak, in here, that we would come in and maybe put islands in and turn lanes and things of that nature that would kind of isolate movements to certain areas and reduce some of the conflicts that are there, coming in and out of all the businesses and the intersections that's there. So that would have to be a project, and it would have to go through one of the funding mechanisms that we have out there, such as like Smart Scale, the Highway Safety Improvement Program, some of those types of programs. So what we, at this point, are committing ourselves to try to do is to do a study, first of all, and determine what kind of needs that there are through there with that. So we're looking at the study most likely occurring next March or April, that we would be able to have the study started and working to do, see what improvements might be needed or recommended. That's typical for that type of thing. And then after that, we would have to see when the recommendations come in, what type of funding it might qualify for, or what type of mechanisms like smart scale, HCL, as I mentioned before, that it would be eligible for. So the timing, of course, is always, one thing that always kind of comes into play is the next round of smart scale for that process starts next spring. So most likely the study that we have and the time frame that we anticipate being able to do it, and that the study will not be completed in time for smart scale. And smart scale is done every 2 years, so if it's a smart scale project, the application probably wouldn't be able to be entered for it until like 28 under our current time frames. So again, that's not to say there may be some other mechanisms. We always are looking for any types of grants or anything, but I will just say, the corridor that we are looking at to study is all the way back here to Thomas Village, back going in there, all the way back to the intersection here for the access management type of project. Okay, so that is one thing that we are doing there now, or planning to do. But one thing that we are looking at doing and plan to look at doing a more immediate thing for this intersection beyond the dual lefts that we're going to put in here is we feel encouraged that we will be able to go and take this lane here and make modifications here since this signal will be out, and some modifications in this area, and possibly put it in a dual left turn lane that comes out from here going back toward Wise. One of the things, if you've observed traffic in that area, is that during the times of like temporary shift change and school letting out, sometimes traffic will back up in this lane all the way down into here, making that turning movement to go here. And sometimes, even though the lane's not there, there will be vehicles that will try to cheat and run up this lane and get in here and make themselves their own left-hand turn lane going there and that. So we are having discussions with the project personnel and discussing whether or not we can make modifications within the existing project to accomplish this. One thing that I will mention is that this project, with the signal work and everything that has to be done there with it, is not projected to be completed until June of next year. So we've got some time to go and look at that. There is also the current project as designed includes like a concrete wall. These two lanes, there's a grade separation between these two sides of the lanes, and the project has a retaining wall with the separation here by adding a lane in for the width. And the contractor, which is Glass Machinery, has submitted a value engineering proposal, or is about to, where they might do some possible regrading of this area here that would raise these lanes to be both the same height here. There's not that big a difference once you get out there looking at it, but there is some. And then if that is a proposal that we feel is feasible, then we won't have to have some of the guardrail that's coming down through there, or have to have a retaining wall that's in place. So I just wanted to let you know that we have been hearing lots of the outcries about wanting help in this area, and we are looking at it. And so that's kind of where we stand there with that. Okay, so I'm going to give this back to you. before I get lost in West Virginia or Kentucky somewhere. Bill, could you just go to, out here to Weber City real quick? And go to 224 intersection there is where I'm looking for.
Is that at the river?
It's right out here where you turn, 224, where we, Moxon Gap, yeah.
Oh,
There. Okay, so if you want to just yourself, just zoom in there just a little closer. Okay, so right above there, you can see, it's at the very top of the screen, you might look right there. We have a project ongoing. You see where that curb is that's there, that in place now.